Guys, I was coping and saying this was one big prank on Ariel Helwani, but no. Conor McGregor is out of his fight with Michael Chandler at UFC 303. That fight is now being rescheduled to late August or late September. They're not sure yet, so the fight's still happening, but it won't be happening at UFC 303. And the new main event is Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka 2 in the main event. Massive matchup, but that's not all. They've also added Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes, which is a massive matchup now in the co-main event of the card. And Anthony Smith has stepped in place of Jamal Hill, who's also pulled out of his fight, and he'll now be fighting Carlos Ulberg on the main card. And you know what, guys? I'm annoyed. I'm really upset that we're not going to see Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler yet. And maybe ever, because I'm starting to doubt that Conor McGregor is ever going to show up to a fight ever again. However, hear me out here. Did they not kind of cook to find the replacements? Honestly, yeah, we have added higher level matchups than McGregor versus Chandler to this card. We've added Pereira Prochazka 2, which isn't the name value of Conor McGregor, don't get me wrong, but this has 612,000 likes in 13 hours. So it's clearly something big. So this is a massive matchup, a perfect way to end this month with a nice dose of masculinity. We've got Pereira versus Prochazka 2. Alex Pereira is the face of the UFC right now, and you can't tell me otherwise. This dude is saving events. UFC 300, he stepped up. He made a real highlight out of the main event as well. So did Holloway versus Gaethje, don't get me wrong. But now, International Fight Week, Alex Pereira is again defending his belt against Yuri Prochazka. Some people may be thinking, like, listen, it's terrible. McGregor's off the card. But the card is now kind of way better. In place of Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, we now have Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka 2. We've got more of a supporting cast because they know McGregor's now no longer going to sell this single-handedly. So they've added Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes, which is just an extra fight for free on the main card, which I'm A-okay with. And instead of losing Smith versus Ulberg, listen, I thought Ortega versus Lopes was replacing Ulberg versus Hill. We get Ulberg on the card, and now we've got Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg also on the main card. So I'm just saying, guys, I know a lot of people are going to be like doom and gloom. The UFC's fumbled this massively. I'm A-okay with this as long as we still get McGregor versus Chandler at the end of the year. That's all I'm going to say. Now, McGregor is mentally torturing Chandler, and I might make a video on that later on today. I do want to talk about the injury of Conor McGregor before I get back into the matchups and who I think is going to win and just, you know, deep dive on those new matchups that have recently been made. I do want to talk about McGregor's injury because this post is going around of McGregor taking a picture recently, somewhat recently. You know, you can see that the beard is coming back in a little bit once he was done with his beardless, horrific phase. Conor spotted with an apparent leg injury wearing compression socks. So this is the picture that's going round. I don't know if you can see that at the bottom of the screen, but I'm actually going to try and get you to see that real quick. So here you go. Do you see McGregor's leg in these compression shorts? That's tough. People are saying, I'm going to go to the, I mean, I can see the top of it here while I show you that. Look at the leg of Conor McGregor there. There's another one of it zoomed in again where they show it once more. Dude, what is that weird vein or like weird color, I don't know, weird coloration of the leg. Like, that's almost like a curiacose vein, I think it's called. I don't know if it's exactly that, but people are saying, could this be a blood clot problem or a case of phlebitis or vein thrombosis? I don't know what any of those things are, but that's weird, and that's what a lot of people are looking towards. This is, of course, after McGregor healed up from his leg, and now you're seeing, I mean, is that the same leg that he broke? I don't think it is. His right leg seems injured in this picture, people are saying, and McGregor actually did injure his left. So, I don't know what's going on here, but people are saying this might be the reason because he has got this weird, that is a weird mark to have on your leg very close to your fight with Michael Chandler. So, a lot of people are going to act like that's what the problem is. I'm just going to go back to some of the other fights, though. But yeah, that's the injury that they're talking about. That's arguably what they're saying it is. It doesn't seem like it's something that's going to really put things off. As we can see here, it's being targeted for August the 31st or September as well. So maybe we could have McGregor versus Chandler in the Sphere, or maybe we can just get an extra pay-per-view card around that time instead, because they're going to Australia in August, which does limit a lot of fighters from being able to be on a pay-per-view in August. So they could really well subsidize that by having like a late August pay-per-view in the US, because no one really wants to fly to Australia, and that's kind of for the Australian and New Zealand fighters, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler delayed. I don't know. Now I'm feeling like McGregor might win. I know that people are saying, oh, he's injured, he's never going to look the same and all this, but I'm thinking like Chandler might be so mentally destroyed by the time this fight starts. This might be the new level of mental warfare that we didn't even know existed yet. So I am all on board for this from Conor McGregor. But either way, these are the matchups. Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka 2, the rematch. I know a lot of people are going to say Magomed Ankalaev should have got it. But listen, Magomed Ankalaev opted out of this fight with Alex Pereira. He is the title contender, but he was looking to come back in October in Abu Dhabi for his fight with Alex Pereira. Like, he was calling the shots, saying, I want Alex Pereira in October in Abu Dhabi. That's when I'm coming back. And it's just like, bro, I know you're Dagestani, but some people fight more than once or twice a year. And Alex Pereira is one of those guys. Yuri Prochazka steps up. There was rumors of this as well, because there was someone interviewing Yuri where they really threw out the idea of the fact that he was going to be filling in for Conor McGregor against Alex Pereira in the rematch. He even said recently that he signed a fight, but I always thought that was just going to be, you know, him versus Pereira at the Sphere, or maybe in August, or, you know, they were talking about going to Australia. Pereira was in Australia recently, so I was like, okay, he's doing promo over there, and then while he's over there, they're going to announce it that he's going to be at Australia as well on the Izzy card, and that's going to be huge. But no, we get Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka 2. Great matchup. I'm still going to think Alex Pereira wins this. I think he's coming off of the better fight out of the two of them. Listen, they both fought at UFC 300, and Alex Pereira won by easy first round TKO, and Yuri took quite a bit of damage in his fight. In fact, he arguably got beaten up one-sidedly for the entire fight until the moment where he landed that shot in the second round and switched things up. So yeah, my mustache is curling into my mouth, and it's really annoying, dude. It's just not long enough on the left side to connect up with this. I need to wait a little longer. Pissing me off. Sorry. I've got anger problems, guys. Okay, I'm stressed. McGregor's out, and this is the replacement, which is great. Pereira Prochazka 2. Amazing main event. They've also done it in another language as well, I guess. Huge. 612,000 likes in 13 hours. I do think Pereira would win this one. And this could mean that we see Alex Pereira in June, and then even Alex Pereira in October as well. And this activity is going to be an advantage for him against Magomed Ankalaev. In fact, if Pereira is smart and he wins this one, he should say, oh, I just fought twice this year. What have you done? I'm not ready for October. Let's do December. And then he can delay Ankalaev as long as possible. So he's the active one and Ankalaev is inactive. That might give him more of a chance to land something early on the feet. So Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka, amazing main event. Perfect way to end this month with a dose of testosterone. Ortega versus Lopes. Amazing co-main event. This is the huge opportunity for Diego Lopes. I was loving the idea of this being on the McGregor card because I think Diego Lopes could really benefit from it. But, dude, Brian Ortega, Diego Lopes, dude, sick matchup. I really don't care about me. I've actually decided right now, I don't care that McGregor's not on the card. Maybe it took this moment to realize I don't really care about McGregor's comeback. Like, I'm okay if it happens. I don't need it to. It's McGregor Chandler. If it was like McGregor Makachev or something along those lines, like I'd be really, really amped for it. But I'm thinking about it and I'm like, McGregor Chandler. Yeah, I'd rather Pereira Prochazka 2 and Ortega versus Lopes and Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. 100% I would. It's at 170. It's not even at 155 where their rankings even matter. They're not even really top ranked guys at lightweight. They're just in the rankings at this point. Chandler's been so inactive. His main recent win is Tony Ferguson and McGregor's is Donald Cerrone. So, like, I'm A-okay with this, which is weird. I thought I'd be more angry about this. And maybe if I reacted to it in the middle of the night last night before going to bed, I didn't even realize this happened, by the way. I got a lot of sleep. I'm feeling real good. But now I'm at peace with this. I'm A-okay. This is great. Ortega Lopes, I'm going to go with Diego Lopes over Brian Ortega. I think he's got a massive finishing potential advantage in the first round on the feet, and I think that's going to be huge for him here against Brian Ortega, because if he puts Brian in any of the positions that Yair had him in that first round, he finishes from those positions, and I think he's got a much better jiu-jitsu and grappling game than Yair, and he's much stronger than Yair, and he's much more explosive than Yair, and he's way, way bigger than Yair as well. He's a huge, huge guy for the division, so I think he'll match up size-wise with Brian Ortega, which may take away Ortega's main strength at featherweight, which is his size and his frame and his strength to power through a lot of these takedowns that a lot of other featherweights can't quite finish. So Diego Lopes, I'm going with him to finish Brian Ortega in the first. And Anthony Smith Ulberg, I will be going with Carlos Ulberg, but don't count out Anthony Smith. I already don't rate his test levels and his explosivity at this point in his career and his athletic levels. He got the guillotine over Petrino. I don't see Ulberg shooting a dumb takedown in the first round. So I feel like we're going to see Ulberg chew up the leg, and there's a game plan to beat Smith, and it's low kicks and shots when Smith comes in are on that weak leg. So Ulberg's got a really nasty counter hook. He's also got really nasty low kicks. I think he'll absolutely follow that game plan against Smith and should get this one done, unless he goes out there swinging with him like Petrino and shooting a takedown into a guillotine in the first round. So shout out Anthony Smith. Shout out Ulberg. He didn't even need to take this. He stepped up on short notice and thought, fuck it, I'll still fight. Give me the replacement as well. This fight started as Khalil Roundtree versus Jamal Hill, and now we've got Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. I'd say, I don't want to, there's jokes to be made here, okay? This fight got real gentrified. This fight's going to end up Dober versus Yuri by the end of this. I'm telling you, there's going to be 2 more pullouts here. But there you go. Sick matchup. Another great matchup here and another great main event. UFC 303 is amazing. And if we still get McGregor versus Chandler in a couple of months' time anyway, I don't really care that it's now cancelled. I do have to address that Ariel was right, though. I do need to address that, right? Ariel Hawani is correct. He was right. He had the information. No one else had it. Ariel had the information. Really unprofessionally handled by the UFC, which is why I actually thought that Ariel was wrong. Because I was like, there's no way UFC is just going to let Ariel break all this fucking news without them telling us anything for 3 days. But no, they told us nothing for 3 days. So I guess Ariel may finally address me now that he's got a W, I guess, after hiding away for so long. Maybe now he'll start yapping. Who knows? Maybe this is a good thing in hindsight. Stir up some Ariel and Guru beef again. But Pereira Prochazka too. Amazing. And then I just want to show you guys the card overall as well. Amazing. Pereira Prochazka main event. Ortega Lopes co-main event. Get the fuck off the card. Why is that the feature fight? And it actually is the feature fight as of right now as well. The feature fight should be Ian Gary versus MVP. Like, let's just change that around, because now we've got an actual good main card opener in Carlos Ulberg versus Anthony Smith. We don't need Ian Gary MVP opening the card anymore. So I'd say do Pereira Prochazka main event, co-main Ortega versus Lopes, feature fight Gary versus Michael Page. I'd get Mayra Bueno Silva, Macy Chasson off the main card, but I know they want to do it because they want to, at some point, build up some level of opponent for Kayla Harrison. So they want these girls in the spotlight. But they've also got Ulberg Smith on the main card. I'd put on the main card instead, I'd give Tabet the spotlight. Superstar written all over him, coming off a huge win, got a layup to look good against in Yanis Gamori. He's taken actually a step back in competition, arguably, since the Simon fight, which is crazy, but it shows that they want to build this guy. And let's put him on the main card for it. Vinicius Oliveira, also superstar written all over him. Great matchup to get a flying knee against in Ricky Simone. Let's get him on the main card, maybe. Like, there's a lot better cards that we can put together here. And this card now looks absolutely amazing. So, I'm all for it. I am all for this card. And we've even got Pfeiffer on there. We got Swanson Philly. We've got Jourdain on the card. Gene Silver. That's got fun fight written all over it. There's some good fights here. So, I just wish they'd put Tabet on the main card. Bring Bueno Silva Chasson to the prelims, and you're looking at a Pereira Prochazka main event, Ortega Lopes co-main, Gary MVP in the feature fight, 4th fight down, Peyton Tabet's on the card versus Yanis Gamori, and then Ulberg Smith to open up the card. Hey, maybe we should get McGregor cancelled off some of these cards more often, because if they just get way better, I'm all for it. So we'll see how it goes. Looking forward to it. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. And goodbye. Ariel was right. Ariel was right. In terms of what we should do with McGregor Chandler, I think this does diminish the promotability of the fight, though. So I do want to talk about this a little bit, right? I think this does diminish the level of this fight, the promotability of this fight as well. Because now it's sort of an untrustworthy signing. So it's going to get published again, and it's lost its steam now. Because now people are going to be like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. They'll set up a press conference. This means nothing until they're in the cage. So a lot of the things that you could use for a promotion for the fight, which is the announcement and the press conference and the this and the that headline and this, it now won't be the same. They've already exhausted Tough. That won't apply to this new fight. None of that promotability will apply to this new fight when it eventually gets made. They've made the original announcement of it being official and it's actually happening. That's now lost its steam. So it is going to lose a lot. So maybe, just maybe, by them doing this, we'll get a more stacked undercard for when he does eventually return. Who knows? Maybe that's what the payoff will be here. Originally, they thought, okay, the big announcement of McGregor's return is going to sell this card on its own. We don't really need a good supporting cast, even though they did add some, like in MVP versus Gary and pretty much nothing else of value. So now instead, maybe now they think, okay, McGregor's not going to sell this single-handedly. We're going to need to put some real good shit together underneath it. So maybe this will pay off in the end. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. And goodbye.